This story comes to us from Video Games Chronicle, but this story is crazy because this is a follow-up to a video story that I covered a few months back with the Nintendo Switch 2 at one of the conventions, that this accessory manufacturer had created 3D models of Joy-Cons and a holder for the entire Nintendo Switch 2. So it had all the dimensions and sizes, and it looked basically exactly like the Switch 2. And they were showcasing it to people at the convention before Nintendo had announced any details about what the Switch 2 was going to look like. And the leak was very legitimate, very real, and went very viral. And I remember talking about it in my video back then, being like, this seems like something where the Nintendo Ninjas are going to be sending a full force of lawyers to the convention, which apparently I think that happened eventually at the convention, like the day after that broke or 2 days after. But now we see the follow-up a few months down the road. Nintendo is suing the accessory manufacturer that showed off Switch 2 early. A 3D printed mock-up of the then unannounced Switch 2 was widely circulated in January. Did you hear the story? Yeah,
I remember that. We mainly myself and Will of the fans who's in chat. Shout out to you, my good man. We talked a little bit about this this situation, and to me, Nintendo's like an old man, like an old granddad when it comes to this sort of thing. They're slow to act, but when they act, you feel the consequences. Look at Palworld as an example of that.
Yep. And many others, by the way, all the ROM sites. I mean, Nintendo is a very litigious company. Nintendo is taking Genki parent company Human Things to court in California over trademark infringement, unfair competition, and false advertising for its conduct around the Nintendo Switch 2 earlier this year. This is, if I were Genki or Human Things as the parent company, if I was them, I would be shitting my pants right now, because Nintendo doesn't sue you to waste time. They sue you when they know they have a case, because they plan on winning it. They don't plan on settling. They plan on destroying you.
Why they take time, like an old man.
That too. Man, this is crazy. Let me get rid of the advertisement here. If found in Nintendo's favor, the suit requires Genki to destroy all products related to Nintendo Switch and Switch 2, and to cease using Nintendo's trademarks again. Nintendo is also seeking to recover all damages it has sustained as a result of the defendant. How do you prove damages on that? How can you prove damages?
It's hard. Yeah, it's very hard to prove potential, which means it's simply an excuse for, we're going to take everything from you to the point where you collapse
and throw everything we possibly can at you. Nintendo's suit lays out what it calls a timeline of Genki's wrongdoing, which began in December 2024 when the company publicly tweeted in response to GameStop CEO Ryan Cohen to discuss the launch Switch 2 accessories Genki was working on. For those that aren't familiar, that's Ryan Cohen, CEO of GameStop, and publicly said, DM'd you. And Genki said, would also love to DM you with some of the launch Switch 2 accessories we are working on. Weird to say that publicly. It's almost like Genki is like a drunken sailor out in the social media space, where it's like you probably shouldn't say these things out there, but hey,
it's also crazy that this didn't blow up as a topic of the day at the time, though you have to consider it was very close to Christmas, and during the Christmas period, folks, a lot of people take a step back from this. I remember during like the original Goonagate, there was like a Christmas truce where the whole topic died down.
It's like a 3-week period. 4 weeks even.
It just goes to show, even to this day, Smash, people value Christmas
that's true
as a celebration.
I don't know if they value Christmas, or it's a combination of people who value Christmas, and sometimes people just need a break from this shit. Genki's most famous Switch 2 related incident came in January, which we were talking about earlier. The exhibition page for Genki's present at the CES 2025, that was in Vegas, I believe, right? CES. The page read, happy to discuss any Switch 2 info we may have, as well as the stuff we're making for it. Shortly after this, Genki CEO I think that's Edward, or they probably spelled that wrong. Edward Tasai said, personally showed off the 3D printed mockups and stated to different reporters that Genki had access to an authentic Switch 2, on which Genki based the mockups, renderings, and 3D printed mockups, according to the suit. Which this part is crazy to me too, because Nintendo is so careful with giving anything to anybody except the most trusted of trusted sources for this kind of stuff. So if I were Genki, I could almost like fight back in court and be like, Nintendo trusted us. It made us feel like they didn't care. Like, why would Nintendo trust Genki? That's almost setting them up to put them in a position to do something like this, because that would be like Nintendo sending me the next Zelda game early and not telling anyone. Do you think I'd be able to keep my mouth shut on that shit? Come on. Let's be honest.
No.
So that's the same thing. It puts Genki in that kind of position because clearly they were giddy about it. But go ahead. Sorry.
It's just that it's very odd that situation transpired because of Nintendo's litigious nature when it comes to these sort of things. It's like a club, right?
Mhm.
And if you get early access for developmental projects, for third-party projects, especially for hardware, you got to be trusted. You got to be in the club. And I find it very interesting that if these infractions took place in December of 24, January of 25, I know Nintendo, old man company that it is, why wait until late April, early May to do something like this? If they were a trusted, part of the bubble, why weren't they just taken out and dealt with instantly? Especially if they
Probably
betrayed
because,
them.
well, to be fair, to pull out a lawsuit on someone, it doesn't just happen overnight. It does take a lot of time to organize the case, get the facts together, compile the information, do a write-up, and then move forward with it. And then once you move forward with it, it's not instantly announced. It still takes weeks for the courts to find a judge and get everything. So it does take time. I have a feeling Nintendo got started on this immediately. Like, this is one of those, as soon as this happened, they probably got their Nintendo has an entire team of lawyers that is sitting around twiddling their thumbs waiting like sharks to jump on this. So I would not be surprised if this was an immediate thing. But regardless, where was I? It was claimed in January that lawyers representing Nintendo approached Genki on the CES floor. Yeah, and I had a follow up to my video talking about that too. So that's what kind of tells me that back then Nintendo was already being like, all right, we the lawyers are feet on the ground to make sure they have a case here. So they actually went to investigate themselves to be able to have proof that it is true what was happening. Nintendo has also highlighted that following this, Genki displayed a video at its CES, both showing off a render of the then unannounced Nintendo Switch 2, a render which included Nintendo trademarks such as the Nintendo Switch 2 logo, which is true. They actually unveiled the Switch 2 logo before Nintendo did, which is a big deal. That's like a big yikes. Nintendo's timeline continues with a post on X showing Genki CEO Edward Tsai and the caption, Genki Ninjas infiltrate Nintendo Kyoto headquarters. Yikes, guys. Are you retarded?
Are you asking for your company to be wiped out? If
Yikes.
so, just say it.
Yikes.
Just say, Nintendo, kill us as a company.
Like this is like literally, this would be me. This would be me. You wouldn't be able to trust me with this stuff, Nintendo. This guy is me right now. I'd be like, hey guys, guess where I am? Nintendo claims that it was an apparent attempt to further confuse the public as to whether Genki had access to Nintendo Switch 2 and or an affiliation with Nintendo. And I got to be honest, I was, being someone who covers this stuff all the time, I was confused. I was like, damn, who is this Genki? They must be very intimately close and familiar with Nintendo to be talking like this, because no one talks like this. In April, one day before Nintendo Switch 2 presentation, Nintendo alleges that Genki mass emailed its marketing list and posted on social media that it would hold its own direct presentation, which Nintendo contests is a blatant infringement of its own Nintendo Direct branding. Which, yes, I could see that, but at the same time, I don't know how much of a case Nintendo has for that, but Genki's parent company, Human Things, has 30 days to respond to the allegations, which I can promise you they will take 29 days and 23 hours and 58 minutes before they send anything, because they want to push this as far as possible. They don't want to move things along at all, because the longer this goes on, the more time they'll have to sell accessories before the court case comes to a close. The Nintendo Switch 2 console is set to be released on June 5th. And here is the official post. And shout out to Jake Randall, because he actually texted me while SNH was going on to tell me that not only did Genki post something, but they also tweeted at him. So I'm going to talk about that in a second too. But this is an hour ago. Genki said, "A note from the Genki team. You may have seen that Nintendo recently filed a lawsuit against us. We're taking it seriously. I bet you are. And working with legal counsel to respond thoughtfully. What we can say is this. Genki has always been an independent company focused on building innovative gaming accessories for the community we love. We're proud of the work we've done, and we stand by the quality and originality of our products, which is great, but that has nothing to do with what you're being sued about. While we can't comment in detail, we're continuing preparations to fulfill orders and showcase our newest products at PAX East this week." Oh my God. That's going to be a shit show at PAX East for that booth. I would definitely be going to that if I was going to PAX East. "We're grateful for the overwhelming support we've received so far. We'll share more when we can, but for now, we're staying focused on doing what we do best, building gear for gamers. Team Genki." And then 3 hours ago, this is what Jake texted me about. He's like, "Holy shit, dude. They just messaged me on X and tagged me on their official account." I was like, "Really?" He's like, "Yeah." He said, "Shout out to Jake Randall for getting us hooked up with a unit at GameStop. Nintendo's not even sending Genki a unit. If you haven't secured your Switch 2, follow his account for this chance."
What the hell?
He says, "Okay, this is actually pretty funny.
What's going on, man?
What is going on?" Right? Right.
It's like if I was in this situation, right? The last thing I would do, personally, and I know this sounds like ironic, is connect myself with someone being sued, especially by Nintendo.
But I mean, how brazen or brazen is it just to be like, yeah, hey, sorry, we're getting sued by Nintendo. Yo, Jake, what's up, bro? We got a unit of GameStop because of you. It's like, wait, you have a unit from Nintendo. They're suing you about that. I just found that quite hysterical. Look at Jake said, "I will absolutely say hi to you guys." This is wild. Like, this story, I can't believe it's not like blowing up yet. Like, it did break on a Saturday. So next week, this is going to be a major story. Like, everyone's going to be talking about this next week, because just how hysterical it is. What Nintendo is doing and how Genki's handling it is just classic. It's just classic. Any final thoughts on it, Ryan?
I just think to myself, man, the lack of professionalism in this company to get to this point means that they deserve their downfall. Oh, damn.
Sorry, go ahead.
Especially against a company like Nintendo, which has stood the test of time against literally everyone industry-wise, and they have come out on top. So for those who are part of Genki, best of luck to you for your own sake, and learn the lesson you're about to receive from a titan of entertainment.
I mean, this kind of feels like an ant crawling across the street with a steamroller coming down to pave over it or whatever a steamroller's there for, and the ant is just going along its way like, oh hey, cool,
Hmm.
it's a steamroller. Anyways, yo Jake, thanks for hooking us up.
This isn't even Germany versus Poland. This is Germany versus Denmark or Luxembourg. It will literally be over like that.
Yep. Oh man, good times, good times. So shout out to Jake Randall for hooking people up with game consoles via GameStop. And we'll see where this one goes, because I'm sure I'm going to be covering this in the future with any follow-ups on it. Oh man, good times, good times.